What's up, folks? Southern Comic Geek coming to you with another video. I was going to say haul video, but this is not really a haul. This is like a pre-haul because this is a pre-con show that I'm doing. And this time it's for Lexington Comic and Toy Con that I will be attending a week from at the time of this recording. And so wanted to chit chat about some of the people that I'm going to see, some of the things I plan to get, hope to get, all that kind of good stuff. And if you are interested in seeing what those are, stay tuned for the video. Now, before we get into all of this comic book and comic book related madness, go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as the uh, bell notification, so that when videos like this one drop ever so randomly, you are one of the first people to know and can make the conscious decision as to whether or not to watch it now or later. As long as you watch it, that's the important thing. And it's so important, and we appreciate you so much for doing that we're going to go ahead and give you freebies, such as this coupon code at bcwsupplies.com, where you can go and get protective devices for all of your collectible needs, such as, but not limited to, your records, your comics, your ball or non-sports cards, etc., etc. And you can go bcwsupplies.com, use the coupon code SCG to save yourself 10% at checkout. That's right. And if you're like me and you love some good coffee and some comics, you can go to comicsoncoffee.com and use the coupon code SCG to save yourself 15% on that. And the Linktree link that has this and the BCW links and other platforms that I'm on is in the description below. But go to comicsoncoffee.com and use that code and save yourself a little donato. So, yeah, it's time for another big con, and this time it's going to Lexington. Last year, I had planned to attend, kind of like haphazard, last minute trying to attend, and that's kind of a little bit of a haul for me. So this time I was a little more thoughtful in planning a little bit further ahead as far as trying to plan any work or anything around, hey, I'm going to be up there anyway type deal. So I was able to do that. And so it's going to be March the 7th through the 10th. So it actually, to my understanding, based on what Bub's Comics says, and I understand that everybody that knows Bub's Comics knows that, you kind of take what he says with a grain of salt, but there is a comic collector only night that Thursday night where there's no cosplay and all that other kind of fancy stuff that usually surrounds comic conventions today. So there is that, and then so then I will be there Friday and Saturday. I'm flying home Sunday morning, so I won't be in attendance there, but it is at the Central Bank Center in Lexington, Kentucky. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go through some of the items that I plan to do. So let's go to the home page here. So as you can see, the home page, it puts some of the people that they feel like are going to be the bigger draws. And I know Don Bluth, and that is it. So those tickets are on sale now. Let's go to, you got media guests. We'll go through the media guests. I don't really have anybody that I'm looking super forward to personally as far as media guests are concerned. But we've got some definitely random ones, which is interesting. Barbara Eden. So I Dream of Jeannie, probably best known for I Dream of Jeannie Friday through Sunday. So I don't know if she's maybe local to up there, but it just seems like it's a random thing. I don't ever see her like at every convention. She's not one of these people that just makes the convention circuit, but such as it were, there it is. Don't recognize some of these people, actors, voice actors, and the like. C. Thomas Howell, that name sounds familiar. Can't think of anything that he did right off the top of my head. Several voice actors. Don Bluth, which was part of Land Before Time, All Dogs Go to Heaven, Dragon's Lair, So that's pretty cool. Thought about getting one of those. If you remember the old Pizza Hut puppets that Land Before Time that they did with Petrie and Littlefoot and all them, that to get him signed. But that's like, it's neat, but you can do anything you want, just can't do everything you want. And that was kind of where I landed at with him and getting him to sign something. I mean, his autograph's $80, and then it's autograph on Fan Item $100. So it's like, I want it, but I'm not willing to fork out that kind of change when there's other things that I'm really more looking for. Hacksaw. So if you're more of a wrestling guy, OG wrestling guy, there you go. Holly Marine Combs, I believe, was in. My mind just went blank. This guy, Dawson's Creek. That's Dawson. Most thing I remember him for. A lot of various actors. Quite a few. Julie Brown, not to be confused with Downtown Julie Brown. Looks like she must have voiced Zatanna in one of the DC animated. I haven't seen Mick Foley, another wrestling personality. Philip Glasser, the voice of Fievel, as in Fievel Goes West in an American Tale. Rose McGowan, who was in Scream, Charmed. That was what that other girl was. Here's another rando one right here, and that's Priscilla Presley. I just thought that was like, how often does Priscilla Presley make the press junket, Shannon Doherty, which is 90210 and Charmed and all that. Sergeant Slaughter. So again, if you're a wrestling fan, there's you another one there. Stephen Amell, which is Arrow. Steve Gutenberg, another one is like, oh, okay, that's random, but we'll go with it. See, Tim Daly looks like he did some Superman voice at some point or another. So there you go. Let's go to comic creators. Most of the people that are watching this channel that's going to be the ones that they're bigger into anyway. So a couple of names look like they're published. Betty and Veronica work with Andrew Peepoy. Oh, Andrew Peepoy. He actually done several items. I was surprised because what I do is I have my CLZ app, and I'll put in an artist name. It might be like not a household name or somebody I like, just like snaps to my mind. So I'll look through there and I go, oh, I didn't realize he even worked on that. And I like to get books signed 2 or 3 times over the course of time because I'm not necessarily getting them graded, so it doesn't really matter. And so I look for books like that, books where they had a great story, fantastic art, read at a certain point in my life, that type of thing. I'm sure we all do, at least to some degree. And I was actually surprised. And leave me a comment down below. Am I just like, what rock are you sleeping under? Why wouldn't you know who Andrew was? But whatever. It's like Bo Smith, Wyona Earp. Yeah. All right, so Bob Hall, of course, he did some OG West Coast Avengers, some Avenger stuff back in the day. Bob Hall, to me, is Shadow Man, as in Valiant Universe. So for those of you that are following the channel, you know that I have a Book of the Geomancer art book that I'm getting art sketches done into. So I've got to get a classic Shadow Man, not the Shadow Man with the biker jacket that he donned later on in that first volume run. I'm talking about OG Shadow Man with the blue jumpsuit. Got to get him to do something like even a bust. He's not that expensive at the shows that he's at. And so I should be able to get that along with some other things that I'm looking at getting. Bob McLeod, of course, has been an inker on the early New Mutants, listed as the co-creator of the New Mutants with Chris Claremont. The other big thing that he did was help ink the storyline of Kraven's Last Hunt. I've gotten him to sign. I have a whole set of foreign copies of the Marvel graphic novel, which is actually the New Mutants first appearance, not New Mutants #1. And I've gotten him to sign all of them, which was an interesting deal because he's like, wow, and I always like to kind of evoked that kind of response when I'm getting stuff signed from artists. But so I don't think I'm going to get anything signed from him. I have a couple of things that I might or could have done, obviously, but at the end of the day, he didn't charge all that much. But money's money. It adds up when you're trying to focus on certain things that you don't have anything. And so similarly with Chris Marinan, there's a couple of things that I had, but then I was like, yeah, it really just don't speak to me. Just because I have something that you did doesn't mean I have to get you to sign it. David Lloyd, I didn't have anything, but based on this picture right here, I would assume that he did V for Vendetta, which was a big to do, I guess. Erica Schultz, she actually wrote some newer stuff here, and I'm going to get her to sign the X-23 Deadly Regenesis. I'm going to get her to sign that. Frank Fusco, I think I have something for him. It's got him with some early Turtle stuff, but I was putting it in my CLZ app, and it really wasn't coming up with anything that I was like, boom, got to get that. Gavin Smith, I do have some Last Ronin stuff that is signed by other people. So that'll be fun, and get him to sign those. Greg LaRoque, who did some Vendor Spotlight, some Flash, and so similarly to some of the other ones, I got stuff, but I don't think I'm going to get him to sign anything. But a great artist, a lot of work he's done. Jay Lee, I've gotten him to sign, like Bob McLeod. I've gotten him to sign a bunch of stuff over the years. I've got art from him. And really nice guy, but I don't think I'm going to get anything signed by him. And of course, I'm just saying what I'm going to do. Obviously, you can do whatever you want to do if you're going to be there. And then if you were going to be there, you might say, "Man, I'd love to get Jay Lee to do X," and that's great. That's fine. It's just that I've already got him to do stuff for me. So, Jim Shooter. So I got Jim Shooter year before last to sign a bunch of stuff, and he signed for free. And as I've been told, has always done so. He charged for COA, which is nominal. I don't typically get COAs because they're really not worth the paper they're printed on in my mind. But he wasn't charging anything for the signature, so I'm like, yeah, whatever. I was going to pay him for something for the signature either way, so that way you get something. And that was fine. So fast forward to the next year, which was last year, and he is at a certain comic art vendor's booth, and he's charging $50 a sig. And I'm like, there was a couple of things, and I ended up getting them signed, but I was like, good grief. I'm all for these artists. They're contractors. Some of them don't have the renewals from the big IP pay dirt, as it were, that some of these other ones have. And so, I get it, but $50 just seems pretty excessive. But leave me a comment down below if you think I'm just being a cheapskate with that. Oh, and so this is one that I am looking forward to, and that's Joe Staten. He is getting older. He's done a lot of big stuff, a lot of inking early Herb Trimpe Hulk. He also Green Lantern and creator of Kilowatt. So is he co-creator of Huntress maybe? But I'm going to get him to sign the first appearance of Kilowatt. Might even get him to do a Kilowatt sketch or see if I can pick up a page from him up there. So that'll be fun. Another fun one, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, big time DC inker / artist, whatever. And so I'm hoping to get something from him while I'm up there. June Brigman, you see Barbie on the website, Power Pack. Never was a big fan of either one of those titles. But and so she's one that I would go, okay, if I had a book, she wouldn't charge anything, I'd probably bring it. The other thing for me with this trip is because I'm flying. So I don't have my wagon that I typically bring at all of these comic conventions. And I've got to bring it back. The last time I went to Kentucky, Louisville GalaxyCon in 2019, I didn't have the wagon either then, and I had to mail comics back. Now that I am not there's probably not a lot of comics that I'm going to be looking for or even thinking to buy. Who knows? I say that and then something will happen, but that I can't pass up or something. But I'm really looking for signatures, art, sketches, that type of thing. I just hate to have to mail that kind of stuff back if I ain't got to. So it kind of helps you limit or refine your focus and your funds. Again, focusing on what those things that you definitely want to get a hold of. Justin Mason, it seems like I've got something from like Spider-Man 2099, which he shows on here to get him to sign. Kevin Nolan, I've got him to sign. I met him at Memphis Comic Expo year before last. Really nice guy, done a lot of great work. So nothing from these artists, great artists, but it really didn't have anything that just was leaping off the page to me until we come to Paul Pelletier. So Paul Pelletier is great artist, and it actually the three ones that I'm going to tell you are the ones that they actually show an example of on Lexington's website. So lexingtoncomiccon.com. There will be a link in the show notes here for you to take a look at that. But is for Hulk, Aquaman, and Batgirl. The Josh Middleton covers that were being done during that run and age of Batgirl, he was doing the interiors for. So I managed to pick up a original art piece from the Clan McDonald art sale that they do with Spencer Beck, and it managed to arrive here just on time. That's right. And so this is a great splash of Hulk slamming the fist right there into old Zeus. These are blue linings, but they were blue lines of Paul's pencils. It's already signed by Danny Mickey, who is the inker. So I'll get Paul to sign it over here somewhere too. So I was really glad to pick that up. Picked it up at the price I did. You know, I'm not a huge fan of blue lines. I mean, if we had a magic wand and was able to make it what we want, I don't think there's any artist out there, not artist, art collector, that would say, yeah, I want a blue line. No, nobody says that. However, it is kind of the reality of where we're at with technology and such. So, I'd actually reached out to Paul from his website and asked him if he had any original art, great Hulk pages. He has a couple pages from Hulk, but they don't have Hulk on them on his website. So feel free to look those up, Google that. But I thought maybe if I was going to get a great big piece, I'd go ahead and claim it, and he'd just give it to me at Lexington. But he said he had already sold all that. So there you go. So I've got several books and that art piece that I'm going to get him to sign. So the next one for me is going to be Ron Mars. Well, not I would have been for me. Let me phrase that. Would have been for me was Ron Mars. I met him at Memphis Comic Expo. Let me pull the screen back up. Is Memphis Comic Expo back in last year before last. And so did some definitive runs on Green Lantern and Silver Surfer. I even got him to sign the Turok 1. I've got the cover of that Bart Sears done for Dynamite, and Ron Mars was actually the author on that. So I got him to sign that comic there. Had a long line of talking with him. Really nice guy, but I don't have anything new to get him to sign. So Roy Richardson, I don't know if him and June, and I might be showing my lack of knowledge here. Feel free to reach out to me in the comments below. But June Brigman and him, are they like husband and wife, or just like do a lot of work together? So I didn't know if it was like kind of a Jimmy Palmiotti, Amanda Connor, married but different last names type thing. So, but nothing from him. So the next big one and last one for me is going to be Jim Steranko. So I met Jim Steranko in January 2020. Everybody knows what happened right after that. But I was able to get, he did 3 issues of X-Men. Most famous being the first cover appearance of Polaris, where the X-Men title was changed and has since, still to this day, looks that way. So I wanted all three of the issues signed that he done. I got two of them signed, and I had ordered this third one on eBay. I even told the eBay seller, I said, please, I'm trying to get Jim Stranko to sign it. I need to get the book in enough time to have it when I leave there that morning. And he said, oh, well, yeah, that's cool. Well, that didn't help him speed it up anything. So went to the con, got the book signed, come back, and the book that I had wanted was in the mail waiting for me. Didn't do me much good that way. So I'm actually going to finally rectify that wrong and get him to sign that. I think that's the only thing that I got him to sign. I might stand corrected. Might be one other thing, but really cool guy to listen to. He's one of those people. He's definitely got a presence still at his ripe old age, and plenty of stories to tell. And you hate to stand in line a lot of times, most of the time, for anything. But with him, it's just as fine to me to stand in line because I can sit there and listen to him tell different stories to every person that's in the line about this experience or that experience or the other. And, makes waiting in line for him. And then when I got up there to get him to sign something, he didn't just say, here, sign here, give me my money. He's like, man, what do you come to Comic Cons for? Like, what's your thing? And I was like, well, I like to shop for comics sometimes. And that was probably my main deal back then, less so today. But I said, get signatures and from artists and stuff. He said, you need to go to Heroes. I mean, he was just that, thoughtful to ask me that and go through that exercise as opposed to just saying, hey, give me my money and move on out of the way. So seemed like a really nice guy. As with most cons, they do have some professional photo ops. In particular, these are for the celebrities, but you can do these photo ops. It gives you information about traveling. I will actually be staying at the hotel that is connected to the center, which is really nice when you're able to do those, when these venues have those situations, because you never know, rain, inclement weather. You don't want to be stuck having to, watch over your comics or your art and get messed up. Or like, especially if you're meeting anybody there, you end up having a situation where you got too much stuff. And I don't have my wagon, which makes it more problematic. I'm going to get my hands full of stuff and I'm not going to want to risk laying it down somewhere and it walking off or me forgetting it, which is all in all possible. So, if I get my hands full, I can just go back to the hotel room and drop it off and come back. Especially it's going to be nice if when I get there, hopefully people like Bob Hall and some of these people that want to get some of the sketches set up. Because one of the first things I do when I go to a Comic Con is survey the land. All right. And so usually there's two or three people I want to get sketches from. So if there's two or three people I want to get sketches from, and then there's usually, two or three main people that I want to, if I can't get no other signatures but these, which ones are those? Those are the people you want to go to first, right? Especially if they're like a big draw name. Jim Lee and those kind of people, they're so big now, they sell tickets, but somebody that's going to have a long line, you are the main draw of the con. That's the one you want to go to first. Get that out of the way. And that's what I do. And so hopefully they'll be there that Thursday night. I don't know if they will or won't, but hopefully they'll be there that Thursday night. That way I can go ahead and get those locked in and get those working on. And so a lot of times, I've lined these up. I go do whatever, and then I'm sitting here waiting on those sketches to be done to leave or to go somewhere else. Well, if you're connected to the hotel, it doesn't really matter. I just go back to the room. I'll be back. There's going to be several YouTube IG people there. I know Bub's Comics, Bearded Comic Bro, to name two. And so if you were going to be in the Lexington, Kentucky area, and going to be at Lexington Con in particular, feel free to hit me up on the IG, and I will be there again Thursday. Well, actually, I'll be there all week, but the con is Thursday and through Saturday thing for me. So yeah, you can still purchase tickets right there. Your frequently asked questions and all that kind of stuff. is all right there, but it's at lexingtoncomiccon.com. And it got a pretty good deal. And from like, again, from what I hear, it's a pretty good small show, right? It's not New York Comic Con or C2E2 or MegaCon, anything like that, but it's a good, small, nice show. So this is probably the last Comic Con that I will be going to until June, when I go to Dallas Fan Expo, which is going to be huge this year, bigger. And, of course, there'll be videos coming out about that the closer we get to there. But because generally every year have been going to Huntsville, which is in April. But this year I've actually got a company trip in April. So I don't, that's at the last week of April. And the Comic Con is the week before that. And I just hate to be gone 2 weeks after another one. So I don't know if I'll make Huntsville this year. And I haven't seen the guest list with Huntsville to know whether or not I'm like, okay, yeah, got to do this, got to, miss, 2 weeks in order to make it there. But we'll see. And I don't know of any that are in May. So yeah, June is the next big one, and that's Dallas Fan Expo. So we'll see what's coming up. I've been spending plenty of money, I can assure you that, on original art on these heritage heritage auction sites, and Comic Art Live, and all that kind of stuff. But hope to have a good time, get some good SIGs, maybe even find a few books. Who knows? With this being a little bit different in the sense that they have a comic night where it's just like comic people there. It might be a little bit different than it is in typical comic cons, because like in typical comic con, I don't even really shop. I mean, if I see something, it's just a really, big, great price, that's one thing. That's not typically the case anymore. And I know it's expensive for these vendors to go. And a lot of the people that are going there already have the comics that they're showing, and or are spending their money on other things, or they're not there for comic stuff at all. And so they're trying to recoup their money. Some of them got too much money in their comics because they bought them during the pandemic and paid those acquisition prices at that point. So I get it, but that don't mean I have to give mine away too. So generally, when I go to Comic Cons, I'm visiting the shops in and around those places, so that and finding deals that way. But we'll see. You never know. You never know. You walk by that book and go, that's the book I've been looking for right there. And that's the price that I can't part without. So before we get out of here, I do want to mention again, if you are in need of some supplies for your collectibles, you can go to bcwsupplies.com. Use the coupon code SCG to save yourself 10% on your order. It's always great because if you save money on your order of collectible supplies, guess what you can buy with it? More collectibles. That's right. You can get great coffee if you go to comicsoncoffee.com and use the coupon code of SCG, you guessed it, to save 15% on your order there at checkout. So do appreciate everybody for hanging out and watching this, whether you fast forward and I talk like, or if you actually stomached the whole almost 30 minutes that I've been rambling. But either case, I do appreciate it. And if you can, before you leave here, be sure to drop the Hulk smash. Oh, that's not Hulk. Thor hammer smash down on that like button. And appreciate everybody. Hopefully everybody's doing great. And until next time, keep reading and keep collecting. Adios.